Hello and welcome to the Arena Sports Show. I go by the name of Clauiee Grace Mpanza. But first thing first, Happy New Year. Wishing you a fantastic 2025. I'm hoping that it's been good so far. I know I'm a little bit late, but I'm sure you can forgive me on that one. We can get away with it until March, right? All right, so we've got a jam-packed show for you lined up today. We've got so much to talk about. We'll kick it off with football and later on bet on to the world of cricket. But before we get into that, you know that song, Java Ageko Gogo, the direct translation for those who don't know it, is we are dancing because Gogo Ageko. And that's exactly what we're doing on the Arena Sports Show, because our Gogo, in this case, our grandpa, Matlasi Mpatlele, is not around today, but he will be back next week. We do, of course, hope that he comes back, but we don't mind because we've got the young blood today, and we'll be, of course, dancing all the way until the end of the show. So much to talk about. Well, we've got two gentlemen who are absolutely incredible. When you talk about football minds, gentlemen that are obsessed with the game, it's these two. I've got Teboho Molopa and, of course, also Luyolo Mali, who are two fantastic gentlemen. Teboho known as Coach Picasso. Of course, when you talk tactics, he's got it. And also Disky chats with Luyolo Mali. I'm sure we all remember those, right? He's now the technical performance analyst, rather, at TS Galaxy. So much to talk about. Gentlemen, Happy New Year. How are you guys doing? Who's going to take it first? You want to go first? Please go first. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Firstly, thank you very much for the invite to the show. I'm looking forward to the conversation, and I hope the viewers enjoy it as well. And yeah.
Don't you miss your YouTube channel?
Oh, I do. I miss it so much. Yeah. And I still do get a lot of people who still come up to me and they say, oh, man.
I'm still mad at you. Yeah, I'm still part of the people. I'm like, bro, you don't tell us where you're going, number one, and you just disappear. I felt disrespected.
Yeah, so I do miss it. However, yeah, Disky Talk with Luyolo was a huge part of my life, and very important to assist me in where I am today, you know, working as a performance analyst at TS Galaxy Football Club. So I do miss it. However, I'm very happy. And I'm very fulfilled, actually. I enjoy what I do. I love working with the group of players that we have, alongside with the great technical team as well. And yeah, I'm currently enjoying it. From time to time, I do actually go and watch a couple of episodes from times back. And yeah, I do get a bit emotional.
Aww, I don't blame you. You know which one was my favorite one?
Which one was it?
The one with my twin, Coach Rulani. I thought that
was a great episode.
You also enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was outstanding.
I mean, it's Rulani, right? You can't hate on Rulani. But how are you doing, Picasso?
No, thanks. First of all, thanks for the invite. Really honored to be here. You have a solid team behind you, so I'm looking forward to the episode. No, you got some good people here.
No, thank you.
I feel at home.
They are. Oh, listen, don't get too comfortable.
Oh.
I'm joking. But I mean, we talk about being obsessed about the game, and I think having the conversations with the both of y'all and seeing the work that you'll both do. Enlighten us. Is that the key to success? Do you have to be obsessed with the game?
I think obsessed is an understatement. I think one has to become it. You have to become football itself. You know, the famous coach said, these boys, they are football themselves. So you have to become football itself. And for me, it's not a role, it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. You know, 24/7, you have to be on it. And that is the only way I think one can find success and progress within the game, and always being willing to learn also as well, and update the software and continually keep learning and doing the things that get you a lot closer then to that level.
And I mean, I guess essentially, Picasso, it leads to your nickname. When maybe just tell us the story, because when he talks about it, becoming it, right, I think your story also leads to how you think football is an art to a certain extent.
It really is. I really believe that football is an art. You know, they don't call it the beautiful game for nothing.
For sure.
And you mentioned my nickname. I actually got the nickname. I've got a footballing nickname when I was still playing, which is Guti. And then this one, and it was given to me by the kids at Stars of Africa, because that's where I started my coaching career. Yeah. You know, but at the time I was playing and coaching. So in the morning I go to training to play, and then afternoon, because the kids are back from school, then I was coaching. So how the name came about is that I used to tell the kids that football is art, guys. Like, treat it as such.
For sure.
You know, appreciate it, and art is valued.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's a, I can't really remember, but if I'm not mistaken, it was a kid by the name of Musa Festile. He's such a talent, by the way, super talented. I think he's the one that gave me the nickname, because he was like, yeah, well, you're also an artist, because how you want us to play this, and the third, you know. So that's where the name comes from.
Please ask Luyolo if he has a nickname. Because it's closer to you, you can ask him.
If you play the game, you need to have it. You know, enjoy.
Right, this is why I ended up as a performance, and this is why I ended up this side.
No, but yeah, I mean, I believe, like, if whatever you are doing currently, I think you should be content with that. Obviously, striving for more. I mean, it's the world is our oyster. I mean, the world has opportunities. The country offers opportunities.
For
so, nickname or not,
what he does.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's what matters. But we'll definitely be getting into, of course, conversation as to what the gentlemen are getting up to. But for now, star of the week, let's find out Mahlatsi Mphahlele's choice for this week.
Hello, and compliments of the new season. Hopefully 2025 is a good one for everybody. I'm sorry I'm not able to be in the studio today to start the new year, but I'm still available to give you my star of the week. And without any waste of time, I will go with Orlando Pirates. As we all know that not so long ago they went to Egypt, Cairo, and pulled off a hard-fought 2-1 win over Egyptian giants Al Ahly, which in the process made sure that they finished the group on top of their group in the Champions League knockout stages, which is a mean feat, and it means that going into the draw for the quarterfinal stage of this tournament, they will be one of the seeded teams. This means that there's a stronger chance they may meet a so-called smaller team and maybe see them qualify for the semi-finals. And also on our end, that we still have Sundowns who have also qualified. And also for the country, we still have Stellenbosch who have qualified to go through in the knockout stage of the Confederations Cup. So overall, it's good for South African teams. We have done well in the tournament, but my star of the week definitely has to go to Orlando Pirates for pulling off that massive win against Al Ahly in Egypt. Dango, thank you.
I definitely did not expect a dunker from the influencer, but he's definitely moving with the times, and we're here for it. Luyolo, star of the week from your side.
My star of the week has to be Thato Kiba, also known as the General, and famously known as Mbese. And he's just completed his move to Stellenbosch from TS Galaxy Football Club.
He's a top player.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of you football analysts obsessing about him.
He's a phenomenal player, exceptional talent with a beautiful football brain. And the thing that stands out for me is his patience, because it's taken him a very long time to break through and get to the very top, and now become one of the best midfielders in the country. His consistency, his work ethic, his attitude on a daily basis, working with him, he's a coach's dream, you know, and he's able then to translate ideas onto the pitch without you having to over-explain. He's the type of player where you tell him something once and that's it. And sometimes how he's able to just take control of football games. And I think for me, seeing him finally get to a level where he can showcase his talent at such a club like Stellenbosch, for example, a club which is doing very well currently in South African football, and one of the top clubs currently. For me, it's such a proud moment, and I do wish him all the best, and hopefully he can break into the national team as well. And when you look at his performances from last season going into this season, he's become quite the complete midfielder, because most who know him would obviously know him for in possession, what he can do with the ball, But what he's now added to his skill set has made him a complete midfielder because he's got goals now. He creates goals. He's got assists. You know, he's winning his duels, aerial duels, even as short as he is. He's winning the ball in the air. He's winning his ground duels. He's going box to box. He's controlling games. And even his range of passing is quite exceptional.
For sure.
You know, so he's become quite the complete player. And I wish him all the best at Stellenbosch.
We definitely do. And I mean,
he would make a great agent.
Oh, really?
If somebody spoke about me like that.
I think both of you would. If you listen, we're going to find out his star of the week in a bit, and I think you'll say the same thing. He would make a great agent for his star of the week. But before we get to that, I mean, Luyolo talks about, you know, the coach's dream, a player. I want to find out then from you as to when you think about players and really now the kind of players that you get, the kind of players that you work with. The reason why I'm asking this, right, you go back in time where when you listen about, from players, about coaches, about Coach Jonathan as to Jomo rather, as to he'd say, okay, that's where I think you would work best. Talk to us about the converting of players as to really when I feel I'm better as a midfielder, but you see me as a centre back. That conversation between coach and player.
I think for me, no one was born as a right back or a centre back or a goalkeeper. I think you find your niche within the sport, you know.
Really?
And then, yeah, some players just fall in love with a certain position because of its responsibilities, you know. In football, some positions are harder than others. That I think I must say.
Yeah.
And then
which one is the most difficult?
I think the most difficult is being a 6. Because you need to know everybody's business. Okay. You know, you need to control everybody. There are guys behind you, the guys in front of you. So you're basically the engine of the team, you know. So that converting players, I think even now, I mean, you look at Pep Guardiola, for example, with how he has went about his business and his success and how his teams play.
For sure.
In modern day, when you are developing a fullback, the fullback can be developed as you did 20 years ago. You know, so there are things that you need to add because fullbacks now are required to go inside and play as a 6, sometimes go inside as an 8, sometimes as a 10. You know, so there's so many dynamics. So you try and develop a holistic player. You know, and then in professional football, I think at development level, players should just be playing everywhere. You know. And then once you get to your maybe 18, 19, 17, 18, 19, that's when you can say, okay, this is the position where I feel most comfortable and where I think I can produce magic, then that's it. But when you have to convert a player, I convert them all the time.
You look like the type.
I convert them.
But Luyolo, I mean, just to pick it up with that, right? I mean, from a performance analyst, you watch players, you analyzes almost everything about them, and he talks about starting them off young. South Africa, we've noticed, you know, the issue where players kind of start late. I mean, it's not every football club that plays from the back. We know that. It's a South African thing. So talk to us about, you know, really how we can achieve starting them young, because we can talk it, but now how do we actually do that?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing is setting up football academies and football academies of an elite level with also elite level coaching, you know, so we can set up a football academy, but what type of coaches are coaching those young players? So in as much as, yes, we must invest in the academy, invest in the player, but can we start investing in coaches as well? Can we start investing in analysts and scouts from a younger age? And once we start to get those right, I think then we're moving in the right direction. Because at the center of it all, you've got the player. And around the player, there's all these aspects then. The coach, the analyst, there's nutrition, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. So once you start ticking all these boxes, then we get a step closer. And we really have to start them young, because when you look at it, and you look at world football, for example, if you look at players in Europe, the reason why they're ready to play first-team football at 17, 18 is because at 7 and 8, they were in a serious academy setup, and they've done their quote-unquote 10,000 hours. So if you were to convert that to years, you're looking at 8 to 10 years. So if you start at 8, by the time you get to 18, you're ready to play first-team football. Whereas with us, we start developing a lot of our players at 15, 16, and that is why 10 years later, at 25, they're still called youngsters.
They do call youngsters.
Speaking of development, you know, my star of the week actually, it's a guy that you can see that he was well developed. I think Coach Farouk did a wonderful job with him. Kabelo Dlamini.
For sure.
He's outstanding. I don't personally, I don't think there is a player in South Africa in top flight football that's as technically gifted as that guy. I think his technique, like you talk about a 10-yard pass, 20-yard pass, 40-yard pass, ball into box, whether it's a cross, whether it's a free kick, his football brains overall, I think he's someone, and I'm happy to see South Africa giving him his flowers. Yeah. Like I'm happy to see people embracing him, because it's been at Pirates. I think it's what now, 7 years, 8 years, you know. So finally he gets I think he's respected more by the professionals. Yeah. I think the players around him, his teammates, respect him more because they see him every day. For sure. They know how good he is, you know. But eventually we have caught up and caught on as a country, so it's good to see. That's my star of the week.
And what do you think about him now playing a lot deeper? Because early on we would see him playing more as a 10. Now we're seeing him, you know, play as an 8.
I think because of his range of passing, I think whatever whatever responsibility as a coach you give to a player, obviously you look at their strengths and weaknesses, you know. And I think his range of passing, like a 40-yard pass to him feels like a 10-yard pass. So because it's pinpoint, it's precise, you know, he barely misses a pass, you know. So I think maybe the coach feels like in their team they need such a weapon at times, whether to change the point of attack, whether to be a bit more direct and vertical, whether to use it to exploit the space in behind opposition defenses. So I think he, anyway in the middle, but damn, he's slow. KB is too slow.
I didn't expect that.
Like, that was so anticlimactic. We're building up. But an exceptional footballer. Exceptional footballer.
I think we can definitely all agree on that. Youngster, he's not a youngster. Where is he?
No, I think...
Quickly, don't over-explain.
Okay. 28. In South Africa, youngster.
All right, we'll take it. Let us know what you think, and also perhaps indulge us who your star of the week, who has impressed you in the past few days. But, I mean, you can tell we've got cream here, right? So let's pick their brains a bit. We'll start with you, Luyolo. I mean, we mentioned that in nickname are you Kone, but it's fine. It's all right. Your love for the game, how it all started. And I mean, we've spoken about, of course, your YouTube channel, but then now the transition, the role that you're in and what you're doing currently, and perhaps expand as to why you had to leave your YouTube channel as well, because I've seen a lot of people quite upset about that.
So my YouTube, first and foremost, I would like to mention Bongani Baloyi, who was very key in the inception of the YouTube channel, because he did the production. So what people don't know is that it was a two-man team.
Which is insane. It looks so crisp, bro.
Two-man team. Yeah. So Bongani on the other side of the camera, Luyolo on the other side of the camera. So we worked really well together, and I'm always grateful towards him for assisting me start that show, and also the consistency that we were able to keep over 2 years. Sure. And the interview that changed the course of things was when I had Mr. TimesLIVE. And before we even did our interview, he actually said, actually, I've been monitoring your progress, and I'm happy with what I see. How would you like to come to my football club?
What?
So it was a launching pad.
Yes, basically. Basically. And then, then when we were done discussing, then he asked me, he's like, so do you still want the interview? I'm like, of course. You know, so that's how loyal I am, and I'll forever be towards those that love Diski Talk with Luyolo. Sure. And it's still available, it's still there for people to access. And yeah, so the transition then, and why then I had to leave. So also quite blessed, I need to acknowledge this, going from a YouTube channel straight into professional football at the highest level. Yeah. I think it's only by the grace of God and His favor that happens, and I'll always be grateful for that. And so the transition was quite seamless, if I could say, because I do have a background in professional football because I've played before, pursuing it, and having spent time with professional teams as well. So I more or less understood what was required going into it. But of course, there's always challenges. There's always challenges because now it's a different role, it's a different ball game. But I've enjoyed it so much, working with peers even. Some players a bit younger than you, some players a bit older than you. But when you have the ability to connect with human beings,
For sure.
and for me, when I work with players, it's so beautiful because I always say it's the human first before the player. And if you can speak their language and you're able then to connect with them through football, then it makes it all worthwhile because they also then see that, okay, this guy played before. Because sometimes you join in rondos, sometimes you join in sessions, and like, okay. And then when you start analyzing the game and you start analyzing their performances, and they're like, okay.
Yeah, but
okay,
it's hard to coach people that are older than you.
Really?
I remember at Platinum City Rovers, there were players that had a 20-year gap. One was 18, the other was 38. So how do you deal with those two people?
How did you deal with it, coach?
You treat them the same. Well, in regards to, you know, I think whether the player is young or not, I think any human being deserves a good amount of respect. You know, you respect them, like but obviously, when it's within the one-on-ones, you know. And funny enough, I would ask for advice from the older guys that are older than me, like life advice. You know, what do you think? You know, so if you're open-minded, you know, I think the players can help you to grow. You know, they teach you a lot. You know, I'll tell you something. I learned more about football on the training page than in a coaching course. I think that's where the lessons happen. You know, you learn so much as to how to structure your team, the new things, the capabilities of players. They give you possibilities. You know, if someone can do this, it's a possibility, and then now you need to think, you know, as to how best can I use this guy in this area. As he said with Udlamini, you know, I think at youth level he played as a winger. As slow as he is, he played as a winger, but sometimes as a 10. Now he's a deep-lying playmaker. You know, so those offer opportunities to learn, and it's a good space to be in.
One thing that I find quite interesting, because I remember talking about this with the likes of Lucky Lahwati, Dehang Mabalane, when Pirates was doing well back then, one thing they all love about Recrawl was the fact that he had those one-on-one sessions. He would come to you, talk to you, and explain. Even if you're not playing, you would still have those one-on-one sessions. So it's important, clearly, for footballers, and also to feel understood as to coaching Fastana and that human element. I think that's the most important thing in terms of football. Your story, though, you played, you're a coach, your love bug, where did it start?
I think football, me playing football, I don't think I was meant to be a top professional player. Honestly, I don't think so. You know why? You know why I don't think so? Because everybody used to ask me, how haven't you made it? Because even guys that I played with, they'd be like, how are we here and you are not here with us? You know, and I think for me, and I never got the pressure to say, yeah, but I also need to make it, and now I'm forcing matters. You know, what I understood though is that if it's not the thing, then it will be the thing that leads you to the thing. You know, if football was not the thing, then it led me. It's like a contingency route to.
Must hit that one.
It was like a contingency route for me to get to where I need to be, and this is where I'm most comfortable. And I think, and with the way I left, with the way I stopped playing, I woke up one morning literally. I was like, today I'm not going to training, because I'm taking up somebody else's space that I might appreciate. So I left a professional contract in the NFD. And then I decided from today I'm going to focus on this, because this is what I love more.
For sure.
You know, like I fell in love with coaching. And Coach Farouk used to say, even when I was playing, he'd say, you're going to make a good coach one day. I didn't understand, what's this old man talking about? But as years roll on, and then, you know, That's
But
when
you
I
talk a
realized.
lot, so I think I can believe that. I mean, I've known you for an hour now, and I can gather that, no, the talking thing is yours. But I mean, the transition, you mentioned off air in terms of there was some point in the change room where it's like, but bro, what you are showing us and what you are teaching us and here, what you're saying, it's not it. Talk to us about those moments.
I think it's first of all, when you're a coach, you need to understand that it's interesting what I'm quite close with Opamanye, so it's interesting what he said, that he doesn't want to be a coach because he'll feel as if if he's coaching, he's gonna want to do it. You know, like he's gonna put himself in the position. I think as a coach, you should remove yourself. Yeah. You have to remove yourself from the situation, and it's great if you've played because it gives you a certain edge, and the edge is that you know how tough it is to be on that pitch. You know, so with certain mistakes you're a bit more lenient. You know, but we've seen coaches that haven't played at the highest level, like Coach Rula, and I think he's the leader of the new school. I think he's wiping everyone, but he hasn't played, you know, but he's great at what he does. He's very successful, you know. So, but the switch is more up here than it is anywhere else.
Yeah, agreed. Because when you look at Henry when he was at Monaco, there's actually a story of that and how he wanted them to do a certain drill, and they were just not getting it right.
There was one that was trending.
Yes, and then he ended up getting onto the pitch. Like, this is how you do it. You take the ball.
He did it exactly.
He did it exactly. And then they started doing it right. Later on, they were now playing like a small-sided game. And he was not happy because the forwards were not finding success. Then he got on and started playing and started scoring. And some of the senior players at Monaco, then afterwards, they sort of had to have the conversation with him. Like, yeah, easy, you know. So it's actually a pertinent point that he mentions, that the transition from player to coach, it has to happen.
It has to.
Because if it doesn't happen, you'll have a lot of struggles. And sometimes it's very difficult then to articulate as to, but why is he not finding success? He had a great playing career, you know, he's done his licenses, but why is he not finding the success? And it's all up in here.
Which is I think another thing, that just because you played football, guys, that doesn't mean you know how to coach. Like, I think people should understand that part. Because I think coaching is teaching. You know, it's literally teaching. Whether you're teaching a 35-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 5-year-old, but you are teaching. You know, and with teaching comes so many responsibilities. Sometimes you gotta be a brother. Sometimes, I mean, I don't have kids, but sometimes I gotta play a father to an 18-year-old. You know, sometimes you gotta be an uncle. Sometimes you gotta be this. You know, so to be that holistic, and you are just one person. You know, it just doesn't require I played the game, so I know the game. You know, or maybe I have a coaching qualification, so now I'm a coach. You know, so it's quite tricky.
To it, That's the lesson there. But I mean, when you talk about trends, you also have to look at the trend where coaches will prefer to go to teams with their own technical team, where you've got your analyst, you've got your physiotherapist guy, you've got everybody around you. Your thoughts on that? Because now you're employed by a club and you are literally the performance analyst, right? So now if Clauiee decides that I want to go coach at TS Galaxy, I'm going to have to, of course, work with you. So talk to us also about the transition when new coaches come and that relation really that you have from strangers to now having to be best of friends.
Okay, so when you look at football, football will always be football.
Yeah.
You know, irrespective of who comes and goes, and that's what may make the transition easier if a new coach comes in, but there has to be willingness from this coach. Are you willing to work with the various people you find at these clubs? You know, and they will also then do their background checks with regards to these individuals, and they'll also then obviously question you, speak to you, get to understand your level of understanding, and how then can you best support his time at the football club. And if he feels that you cannot support him in that way, then more often than not, he won't want to work with you. Now, when you look at coaches who travel with their technical teams, I think it's a good thing. And the reason why I think it's a good thing is because the coach then has built a brotherhood with his technical team.
Yeah.
There's trust, and there's an understanding, a way of life, a way of working. And then what happens when you do arrive at the new football club, the only process and adaptation that you have is towards the players and not towards the technical team, because you guys already know each other. So if you want to hit the ground running, more often than not, I think it is always advised to work with people who you trust, work with people who don't even have to have you explaining certain things.
For sure.
You know, so I've worked now with Coach Adnan Beganovic, who's our head coach, fantastic coach. And with him, certain things happen, and he'll just look at me. And once he's looked at me, I already know I need to cut a clip of that. I need to, I already know, you know, and that has been built over 2 years of working closely and working together. So there is that synergy, but the most important thing is the trust element, because we've seen and heard stories of coaches arriving at clubs, and then they have to inherit a technical team, and you find there's an assistant coach who's been there maybe for 7, 8 years, you know, and they've been with various head coaches, and it's like, can I trust him? Can I not trust him? We've heard stories of backstabbing. We've heard stories of these assistants then influencing the team. So I always think that if you want success as a coach, I always think it's best that if the opportunity does avail itself, to go then with your technical team. But if the opportunity doesn't avail itself and they only want you and maybe your assistant or just you, and then you have to find ways to adapt, and you have to then build a new brotherhood with those that you find at the football club, because there are good people that you find at football clubs that have been working there, and there are people that can fast track your adaptation process because they've been with those players, they understand those players. So I think it is a very good thing for those who have the opportunity to do it, and that they should do it. But for those who don't quite have that luxury, then I think it's all about adapting and being able to connect with those you find at that football club. And you can still find success, because there is no blueprint with regards to technical teams. We've seen coaches who go with their technical teams and they don't quite find success. You've seen a coach that will go just with just one assistant, and over the course of time, they end up finding a lot of success at the clubs. So certain coaches, like Ange Postecoglou, who's currently at Tottenham, what he said, I remember in an interview, he said that from time to time, he does like to sort of shake things up and change the people that he works with. So he is comfortable with arriving there with a couple of these, but then also integrating with those who have been at the club. So I think it's a great thing, but it's not the end all and be all when it comes to constructing a successful technical team.
So you mentioned coaching, and I mean, the lifespan of coaches, what I'm interested in, because in South Africa there's a trend. Give or take, we'll give you 6 months. You must give us something. If we don't see anything in 6 months, I don't know. Fans are saying be out. But then now when you look into the European trends, they'll give their coaches time, because there needs to be time. Talk to us about how we treat coaches, Picasso, here in South Africa.
I think the lifespan is very short in this country, because it's a result-driven industry, number one. I think across the borders it is. And I think probably maybe the people that are in charge of the football teams maybe sometimes know or sometimes don't know that everything needs time, and you don't have time, you know. But I always think that as a coach you need to buy yourself time. You know, there are games that you know I can't lose this game. Like the derby is coming up, you know. I think the Kaizer Chiefs coach is sitting there and thinking, I can't lose this one. I can lose all games, but not this one, you know. So I think you buy yourself time through that. And then hopefully now we see Coach Jose Rivero is this is his third season there, you know. I think Sundowns has been loyal to coaches. I think Coach Pitso was there for 8 years. You know, SuperSport has been loyal to Coach Gavin, you know. So I think there are clubs that are loyal, but I mean, at the end of the day, you need to produce. You know, you are there to deliver results, you know, and people have invested in this whole institution. So it's fair, but not fair sometimes. So
I get
it's
you.
It's a catch-22 situation.
It is, because people talk about projects. But I say to you, if you lose 5 games in a row, do you think there will be a project?
No, there
you
won't.
see, there's no project without results. So I just think that it's very important to understand the industry and the business that we're in. It's results oriented.
And also on that note, I think I love what your chairman does. He's during the people, you know, he's there in stadiums. You see him, Shai Skopu, you know. I think he understands, and he's I don't think he's trigger happy.
No,
he's
not.
With,
He's not.
with the people within the institution. So which leads to the business model I think that sets him apart from maybe other people. You know, I think he's unique in his ways. Sure. So kudos to him, and he gave a young guy an opportunity. So that's
we love.
He's an exceptional man, and where TS Galaxy Football Club is now and where it's going, all because of that man's brain. He is one of the smartest people I've ever met, you know, and just generally one of the smartest you ever meet. Great vision, great understanding, and with him, he always knows when it's time to sell, when it's time to, okay, maybe hold on, when it's time to, okay, let's give this young player, unknown player, an opportunity.
He's selling his spine every season.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk about TS Galaxy some other time because we are running out of time. There's also people that you guys have encountered along the journey.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes I can play as a 6 guys. But anyway, let's quickly watch these videos and then we'll come back because it's giving me a side eye. But anyway, we'll come back and get a response from the 2 gentlemen.
Hi G, I hope you are well. I want to say to you, good luck in your career. You came to me as a player at 16 years old, played in the Castle League, played with the likes of Kabelo Dlamini, Luther Singh, Patrick Masangwani, to name a few. You then went on to work at the academy as a coach and did a sterling job. Went on to coach in the Motsepe League. And I do believe that if you continue coaching, you will eventually be successful as a coach. It takes time, perseverance, and I know you have those qualities. I want to wish you all the best. Good luck and God bless.
Greetings, Clauiee. Greetings to your viewers as well. Yo, greetings everyone actually. Hey, listen guys, yo, and Petit Star Lapo. You know, when you talk about Luyolo, man, I get goosebumps. One guy that really deserves to be where he is today. I remember the first time I met him, I was like, yo, first day I was like, yeah, no, massive talent here, you know. And to see him grow in the game, making the strides that he's making, man, I feel like a proud dad right now who's watching his kid grow up right in front of his eyes and just doing the most, you know. So massive congratulations to the real G, Luyolo Mali. Continue shining, continue being a star, boy. You've got our support and we love your work. All the best of luck. Shout out, man.
So, do we say I'm a 6? Do you agree now?
No, I agree. No, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, missing nothing.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. I mean, you heard the man.
Yeah, I was emotional for a couple of seconds there. Matala. I think it's impossible for me to speak about who I am without mentioning Coach Farouk. It really is. And Stars of Africa. I think that's where I played there, I coached there. He has mentored me. To be precise, a large part of what I know is because of him. You know, I fell in love with coaching because of him, because how he would coach us. I remember even when we were playing, he never used to repeat a training session. He works, his work ethic is outstanding. I think he works so much and he pours so much into the game, and I appreciate his kind words. And yeah, I'm still shocked even now. How did you get hold of him?
But anyway, Lou, I mean, Shiva, Spider Brighton.
Yeah.
I call him Shiva.
Yeah.
I met you through him, funny
Yes,
enough.
yes,
and
yes.
you guys have still been intact.
Yeah, wow. Brighton. Wow. You know, if there's a person who at times believes in you more than you believe in yourself, if there's a guy who wants me to make it,
Yeah.
more than sometimes what maybe you think or how far you think you'd make it, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Wow, he's the older brother, figure, very honest also, lots of guidance, lots of wisdom, because he played also. And the beautiful part is that he's worked with so many different analysts. But when I first met him, he's like to me, man, you're going far. I don't think you understand. And I've worked with so many different analysts, but you, nah, you're on another level, you know. And he's the one who's always pushed me to always put myself out there and never dim your light, you know, always pushing me to be the best that I could possibly be. And he helped me then meet you. He helped me do a lot of radio, a lot of TV. He took me everywhere where he could to expose me as much as possible and to also give me a lot of opportunities. You know, that is how I met Gavin Hunt and how I could have Gavin Hunt on my show. You know, it was through him, and he exposed me to the world of professional football, different individuals, different coaches, and just always treated me like a little brother. You know, your little brother, you take him everywhere. And what I like about him, so selfless, and always pushed me, always, guys, this is the guy. It's like, yeah, I see me, but this is the guy. This is the superstar. You know, so I'll forever be grateful towards him. And yeah, I owe him lunch very soon, and I must meet up with him. And I'm eternally grateful for those words and very humbled.
I love those cute little bro moments that we just have
Shout out
now.
to the people that believe in us.
Yeah,
Shout out to the people
guys.
that believe in us. No, I absolutely agree. All right, so let's move over because we don't have time now.
Yeah.
Technical trends. You talk to me about the European perspective, and then you can talk to me about the African perspective, because when you look into the African perspective, you also have, of course, 3 South African teams that have progressed into the CAF interclub competitions. So what are we seeing in 5 minutes? We've got 5 minutes. I don't know how we're going to do this in 5 minutes, but indulge me, because we'll start with you.
I think besides the tactics, I think we are growing as a nation. You know, I mean, our national team did exceptionally well in the AFCON, you know. So now to see 3 teams that are really pushing boundaries within the continent, it's great to see. Because even I mean, kids like Abo Relemo Fukeng, the other night, he was at times playing like a left back, you know. So you can see he's growing, you know. He understands that sometimes he needs to defend. You know, these games offer you different prospects and dynamics, you know. So I think I'm excited to see where our country is going, and there's a lot to be excited about, honestly.
Is that your answer, my brother?
It's
fine, I'll let you go.
So I have to mention Liverpool. I think Liverpool sticks out to me because of how well they've been doing within the English Premier League, and how well they've also done then within UEFA Champions League. You know, and you look at Arne Slot coming in, taking over from Jurgen Klopp, and one of the main features then is how he uses his fullbacks. You know, very deep, very narrow. As opposed to when the world was peaking with regards to inverting fullbacks, using them in such an intricate way, he's just gone a bit old school, you know, keep them a bit deeper, a bit wider, you know. So things like that to me stick out a lot. And also just the level of in-game adaptation that we see in that part of the world. It's exceptional. You know, every 10 minutes you're seeing a tweak here, a tweak there, the positioning of a certain player to try then manipulate the opposition structure. So that level is one level one always aspires to work in, and a level then that one also draws a lot of inspiration from. So just seeing those adaptations, seeing those tweaks, and seeing how then Liverpool has just been absolutely dominant within the first season of Arne Slot. It does really interest me, especially when you look at 3 individual players. You look at Trent, you look at Virgil, and you look at Mo Salah as well. You know, there's a whole...
You know, Trent stresses me.
Trent would stress any other coach off the ball. He would stress any other coach off the ball.
Goodness.
You see, but then I ask. Trent stresses a lot of, but I love Trent, absolutely. And then I ask, from Trent, when you look at it, is the upside more or less ball, and then without the ball?
No, I think he offers Liverpool a lot. Like, he offers them a lot. But I always believe that in football, take care of your primary job first. You know, do what needs to be done first.
Yes.
All the other things are extra. If you can give us something extra, so be it. But I think primary job first. But you are right, he gives Liverpool more. And I think playing in a side like that, it allows him, you know, because I mean he's got Virgil there, he's got a proper defense, you know, with a goalkeeper, Ellison. So it allows him to but against the very best of the best, he suffers.
Yes.
And it's quite evident.
Yeah. So for me, an unpopular opinion that I have is that I think he's got great qualities of a deep lane playmaker. You
are right. It's not unpopular.
So then his primary role for me, in my opinion, is to make the team play, be able to progress the ball from deep, from the right-hand side. And but you know, he's such a polarizing player, such a polarizing figure. Some people love him, some people dislike him. You know, so it's that. But for me, that's what sticks out when it comes to European football. Arne Slot's Liverpool and how well they've been doing. And those three players who, obviously, there's been a lot of conversation around their contracts. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But I think they're in good stead to do the double in terms of the UEFA Champions League and the English Premier League as well.
Champions League? Bernabeu. Anyway, before we wrap it up, I mean, we'd have to see the two gentlemen in action. So let's quickly see, when they're in work, how do they sound and what are they saying, really?
Six, 7, 2 passes, 8, 9, last pass, Red, then we score, last pass, then we score, Red, last pass, finish, 2.
Whilst all of those actions are happening, what are these guys doing here? They are moving around, getting into positions, making the pitch as wide as possible. Because now you find that we get the ball. The winger is narrow. This one is narrow. This narrow. We are like this. This is very easy to defend, guys. This is very easy to defend. Because we don't have spaces to work with. Because now the opposition, all they do is make sure that we go on the line. When we go to the line, we have players that can hit the ball. We don't. So let's play to our strengths. When we are here, wingers out wide, stretch the opposition back 4. For these guys, for these actions here in the half space, whilst the ball moves here, the action from here to here, to play the ball here, and then we get cutbacks, we got people going to the box to finish the actions. And with intention.
Well, definitely animated characters from what I'm seeing here. You're shocked, guys. What comes over you to 7? And we are narrow here. You can't do anything. But anyway, how does that come about? What possesses you guys?
I think it's the love of what one does, and working with the type of players that you work with every day. So as a performance analyst, I now spend a lot more time on the pitch as well, assisting in training sessions, as you saw there. So it's one of the things that I do enjoy when it comes to my role. But what I love the most is when preparing for opposition. So when I do my opposition analysis, that time for me is golden. And I become quite the creative when having to prepare then for a game. So normally watching
how long that would take.
So normally I watch about 4 to 5 matches of the opposition, and I go as far back as the game we last played against them. you know. And then also I would look at how they behave against a team that has similar qualities that we have, our game model, our style, and how they would adapt to that. And then being able then to find key elements and key metrics, and finding then specific clips which then I'm able to compile, put together, and present to the players. And then being able to also bring forth very detailed solutions. Because it's one thing then to show the players that, okay, they play with the high line, but then having to take it a step forward with regards to how then do we exploit the high line, you know, with regards to what type of run do we need, you know, from the runner coming from deep, you know, what type of pass, the weight, the angle, and going into depth with regards to the solutions. That is my favorite part. I really love that. And I guess what puts the cherry on top of the cake is when we're able then to sit down and I present to the players and I find weaknesses within the opposition and I highlight that, and I'm able to then give detailed solutions with regards to how we're going to do it, which player will be the passer, which player will be the receiver, what type of run is needed, and then we work on it on the pitch, and then we go to the game and it plays out like that. And that's something that's actually happened in the past couple of games. The first 2 goals we scored against Royal AM come exactly from that, having identified how they struggle then to defend the space in behind. So the opposite winger action, the ball in behind, out to in run, and being able then to execute that, and the goals came from that. So that for me is yeah, it's just, it makes my life. And once I see those things and I see then the players are able to identify those moments within games, it's just beautiful. And just always then being also able to help the technical team at halftime with regards to the clips I would cut. So first half, picking out key moments and being able to cut clips and show them the gents at halftime what has happened within the first half, where the areas then that we can improve, and working alongside then a fantastic technical team which is currently led by Coach Adnan Beganovic. He's an exceptional coach, first time as a head coach, and I think he will lead TS Galaxy Football Club to great heights.
Oh, absolutely love that. I thought you were also going to mention, you know, the scaffolding that you climb, because I've seen you really on top and being a sniper. But because, I mean, talk to us from your element. I mean, we see the passion that you have, of course, in terms of coaching. But what kind of coach are you? I can tell that like I feel that.
I think I'm actually. I always tell the players that I'm a character. You know, I've got a coaching code. You know, like when I'm coaching, I'm not who I am when I'm at home. For sure. You know, I think I need to. It's like actors and actresses. Like they when they get to their workplace, they need to put on this. Okay, this is the character. For sure. You know, because and that character is the character that I believe can get the best out of players. You know, because I believe I'm a coach that believes in positional football. And positional football for me is not even about where the players are positioned or which spaces to take up. It's more about supremacy, you know, whether it's numerical, whether it's qualitative, you know. So for me, it's about painting a picture to 30 other people. And then making them believe that this is a puzzle, it's our puzzle, and every piece of this puzzle is important. And if anyone is not putting in a shift, then the puzzle is incomplete. You know. So for me, I believe in there's no right or wrong way of playing football, but I like to see the ball moving. You know, I like starting the ball at the back, not because I believe if we're gonna kick the ball up the field, then it's betting, and I don't like betting. I like it when we are in command, you know, and we are in charge, and we dictate the game. And the only way to dictate it, there's one ball, guys. You only use one ball. So if we have it, how can the opposition hurt us? You know, if they don't have it, they can't hurt us. But if we have it, we need to make sure that the end of it is a good result for us.
All right. Oh, okay. Okay. Love it very nice. Quickly, I know we're out of time. I'm sorry. VAR, your thoughts? South Africa, we're taking too long. Is it about time? What are your sentiments on VAR?
For me, VAR is necessary. I think it's necessary. I think with the way there's a loud cry about our officials, and I'm also a coach that doesn't like complaining about officials. If they were on the day they were not on the money, then it's fine. You know, like it's whatever. You know, I always believe that we need to build a team that's good enough against all odds.
For sure.
You know, so I think we need VAR, like we need it
as in yesterday.
All so that justice can be served.
Justice served. Talk to us on your side, Lou.
I agree with him. I think we do need VAR, but I also think that we also need to help the officials improve.
Okay. That's a good point.
Not just VAR, but help the officials improve because they're human too.
Yeah.
And if we could have a rigorous program for the officials, you know, where they do come in and it is professionalized with regards to a professional refereeing association, and you have them coming in on a daily basis, just like the teams do, training, analyzing their games, positioning, and ensuring that they're also in great physical condition to keep up with the game, where they could see that, okay, this wasn't an offside, you know. So I think also a lot of work has to go into helping the officials and improving the officials. Yes, it's not nice when there's bad decisions being made against you and all these things happening. But in our pursuit and in our bid of wanting VAR, let us not neglect the human being which controls and officiates the match.
You know what, you guys, man, like, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
no. Thank you for acknowledging that. But above that, thank you guys for coming. It's been absolutely fantastic. We're hoping you enjoyed that as much as we did. So we're going to wrap up the conversation in terms of football, and we should switch it over, rather, to cricket. And betting over now into the world of cricket, we're joined by Slice Ntozakhe to talk all things SA20 and, of course, what she's currently getting up to. Slice, do we still say Happy New Year at this time?
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy
Merry Christmas. You are pushing it. But we'll definitely take it. I think until March, it's fair to say it, right?
Yeah, it's cool.
How's the New Year treating you?
All good. Back at work, a lot of conditioning. It's great to be with the team again. It's been a long break. I think we all deserved it. It's been a very bumpy ride with the team, but we ended off really quite well. So I think us being together is just gelling and getting our conditioning in place, and also we've just started doing skills work, so that's coming out very nicely.
Indulge me a little bit. Normally when you're talking to footballers, right, they always complain about how pre-season is tough, you know, because you talk about the conditioning and how it's just so intense. What about cricket? The intensity and how long are those practice sessions before you get into, of course, the season?
So this time around it was only for 1 week because we were given strict instructions that during December you can have your 7 colors and your pudding and whatnot, but don't forget to run at the end of the day because we only have only a month to do conditioning. So precisely it was just only a week, but also it comes back to you as an individual how far you want to go. So each and every day I do run, I do go to gym, and I also do my skills work. So I think it's just all about being consistent in what you do so that you avoid injuries and those type of things.
And the interesting thing about Slice is the fact that not only is she a cricketer, she's also a student, which I find quite interesting. Talk to us about what you're studying and really what the goal is and your obsession with studying.
Yes, I am currently studying, doing digital content and marketing. The obsession behind it is that I developed a skill of speaking. So I'm able to do public speaking, I can mentor kids, and I just love being in front of the camera. So I think, and also the love of speaking for me is just huge. Speaking to me just comes out naturally. At first I didn't like it until I got a bit of media training, and having to be surrounded by a lot of people that are in the commenting platform, and also people like Lesotho Boy, Kesh Naidus, she is, and Natalie Jumanes. I think I want to fall into that route, but more behind the scenes, but I'd love also to be in front of the camera. So I only have 1 module left, and then I'll do my research project, and I'm done with digital content and marketing, and then I'll probably do something else afterwards that involves journalism.
Oh my goodness, clearly an obsessive one. So talk to us about now when you talk about the team setup. I mean, you say you like speaking. So are you always the vocal one? Are you the one that's always going to the coaches to also talk to them and hyping the team up? That's the kind of cricketer you are?
That's the type of person that I am. And I think having youngsters in the team, it's something that makes it easier for me to have that approach, especially during match situations where they feel like they're doubting themselves or they think that they're incapable of delivering any skill that they feel. It's getting them back into their shell. So I mean, I do that mostly in club cricket because we play with a lot of youngsters. So grooming them and making sure that they are more comfortable and for them not to go into their shells because, oh, the senior players, this is Raisibe, Nonkulog is here, and then Palisa is there. So I think having to groom them and for them to be out of their shells and enjoy the sport, it's something that's big for me.
I want to talk about the youngsters, right? I'm glad that you mentioned them because I was also going to talk to them about, you know, in the SA20 currently. What have you made of the talent that we have as South Africans and really the safety that we have in terms of the national team progression?
That's really big, and I mean, they are performing. I mean, Luan has done massive for herself as a rookie, and Ngaba Peter also did the very same thing last year, and look where it got her. He got his debut to play for the Proteas. So I think that we have a lot of talent that needs to be nourished and so that they can be able to play in the next level. But there is a lot of, I think the senior players are making it easier for them to feel welcomed into the team, because I was watching the one-on-ones with them, with the rookies, and how they spoke about how the senior players are very welcoming and they make sure that they are more comfortable, they're not in their comfort zones, and they are mentoring them. It's something that's really big for me. Once you are in a safe space, you are able to deliver your talent and your skill.
What's the frequent question from the youngsters? What do they ask the most?
The most, how do you do it?
Sure.
Most of the time.
And what's your response when they ask you that?
I always tell them, well, you need to be patient and you need to persevere, you need to be determined, you need to be hardworking, you need to work more harder behind the scenes than anywhere else, because that's where everything's going to pay off. So I always say, if your friend wakes up at 2, wake up at 1 a.m. so that you are one step ahead. So I think that's something that's really big for me. Everything happens behind the scenes. Whether you tell anyone or you don't, that's where it all happens.
And then now when we shift focus to SA20, and I mean there's always going to be comparisons as to now the other leagues around the world. You'll bring in the IPL, you bring in the Big Bash. Where do you rate the SA20? I mean, we're in its 3rd season currently. What have you made of the progression that it's made so far?
I mean, it all started off as a dream, and to have it to be running so consistently, it shows that it is growing. We can now a bit compared to your Big Bash, your hundreds and your IPLs, because number one, IPL is it's one of those teams that's the reason why we have SA20. So I think it's growing as a brand, and broadcasting-wise, we are going to places. So it is growing, and it's good to see that. Which we would love to have the women's SA20 as well.
Fingers crossed, right? So from us to the universe, hopefully it will happen soon. But what tactical trends have you noticed at the SA20 currently in this season?
I think, not shocking, but it's amazing to see that this year's spin is actually something that's very big. I've never seen spin bowlers being so consistent, and they are the ones that are supposed to lead from the front. But I feel like also, betting-wise, we are growing. Cricket is evolving, and we get to see different type of shots that are being played. And the biggest thing is that teams are mostly now dominating the power play. So you need to attack all the time. I mean, yesterday's game against the Sunrisers and the Pretoria Capitals, that was at some point we thought Sunrisers were not going to score your 150 because of how the Pretoria Capitals came about their business in the power play. So I think that is something that we need to look at. I mean, T20 cricket is fast, it's quick. Anything can happen at any second. So I think it's been such a great display in terms of that, and the betting. I mean, betting teams are scoring 150 plus all the time. I mean, rain has also played a factor, but it's great to see how the men are handling it.
I'm glad you mentioned the betting, because that's what I wanted to ask you. Which team has impressed you in that department?
Pearl Royals.
Pearl Royals.
Yeah, Pearl Royals.
Sure, why is that?
I think they dominate more on the power play, so that it makes it easier for the guys coming in the middle to just nip it around, and then once you have the last few overs, which is death, they're able to feel free and dominate the death bowlers. So I think the way they go about the first 6 overs is something that's big for you, because in cricket It's either you go big or you go home. If you lose out in the power play,
it's chai.
It's chai.
And then the other thing that I found absolutely interesting with the SA20 is that there's always rain, Slice, especially when you go to the bull ring. I don't know why is that. How do you guys deal with that factor? And in terms of preparation, is that something that you also factor in?
It's something that's beyond your control. Rain is rain. Mother Nature says, let me pour out my tears. There's nothing that we can do.
Yeah.
So I think when training, we really forget that factor, and during the day of the match, it's something that you don't really much look at, but you need to always be mentally switched on in case you can do the on and off thing. Because once you go on and then you go off, you need to automatically switch off, but also remember that you might be able to go back again. So it's just all about the mental shift part of things, but controlling it, there's nothing that you can do.
Talking about control, there are certain players in certain moments where you think, okay, I'm batting on Slice. Slice will give me something, but then the consistency is not there throughout the tournament. But at key moments when you need Slice to show up, they will show up. Talk to us about those kind of players, not just only on the SA20, but just cricket as a whole, and how you manage those kind of players.
Well, what I can say in terms of that would be sometimes things don't go your way. It happens. It's sports. Today I can score 100, tomorrow I can go out for first ball duck. So I think it's just all about staying positive all the time. There are people that had performance anxiety at some point. So I think with that it comes back into trusting your skill, going back, referring back to, I can say maybe old videos or maybe a video of you scoring big runs so that you can just mentally remember how good you are. I think such moments, it's where it's a make or break. It's either you're going to go back, go into your shell and think about all the negativity, what the media says, who's saying what, or you block everything else and just refer back to the greatest moments that you have had. Or just mentally shut everything down and not think about anything. So I think in terms of that, it is really something that it's beyond your control. You can't always have a great game. Sometimes you win some, you lose some. So it's just about the mental shift and how you go about your skill at the end of the day.
And then, I mean, earlier on, we're talking with the gents about, of course, technology and the evolution of football and how technology plays a big part in it now. Talk to us about the impact that technology has on cricket, and also, I mean, you look into the money that's been given away to entice the fans as well at the SA20, which is all about, you know, the growth that we're seeing in the sport. Talk to us about those two elements.
The technology, I think it's pretty much helpful in terms of, because I mean, empires are human. What you see sometimes is not what you get. So I think it makes it easier for the empires. If they're unsure of decisions, they can now go to the TV empire. So I think it makes their life more easier to avoid certain arguments on the field, because we like to argue.
Why do you like to argue?
It's like that. If I feel like it's right for me, why is it not right for the empire? So I think that helps pretty much. It makes it easier for the empires to do their job. And also in terms of the whole competitions and everything, I think the sponsorships are really doing well in terms of that. I mean, they're attracting the fans to come to the stadiums. You'll never know. You'll get there, it gets hit, one hand catch. Now 2 million it's what you're gonna get. And UPS is doing a great job in terms of spinning the wheel. So yeah, it's really growing, and it really is attracting more fans to come to the stadium and support.
I've really been impressed, and I mean, one thing about cricket is that the moment that you walk in, everybody's so welcoming. You would swear that we are friends, and I'm just like, I love the atmosphere that you know, the cricketing world has really developed in terms of, it's also for the kids, it's for the adults. And I was wondrous at some point, and you know what happened? The rain happened, right?
Yeah.
Did it chase anybody? No, everybody just started sliding through the mud. I'm like, oh, if this was football, everybody would be going home. So the difference, it's quite interesting. What do you think makes cricket fans special?
They say it's a gentleman's sport. I mean, we are a lot calmer. We're a lot calmer. And I think the vibe is always something that's very vibrant. Once you get into that big stadium, we are just one family. And I think the way that I've seen people have been supporting the people that have been getting the one-hand catches, it's been so amazing. They are more excited more than the person that caught the ball, and it shows you that. Yeah, it shows you that it's actually the type of vibe that you need when you walk into a stadium. I mean, bring in somebody that has never ever walked into a cricket stadium. They would be shocked that, is this how you guys are? I'm like, well, it is how we are also on the field. It just brings people together, a lot of unity, and there's so much love around it.
There definitely is. When you look into, I mean, the current season, do you think it's been easier with the SA20, that is, been easier to chase or to set, and looking at the teams and how they've performed?
I think it's based on conditions. Some conditions will require you to bowl first. Some conditions will just let you bat first. So it's like they've been saying, it's all about conditions. We are just playing conditions currently as in the SA20. Sometimes you can either bat, sometimes you lose the toss and you want to bowl first, but it's just about conditions.
All right, lastly, before we wrap up, the importance of this competition in terms of the national teams and really the development of the youngsters in the country.
Sure. I think this tournament is really opening up a lot for the youngsters. I think all the boys that are watching currently, they can see what the rookies are doing. So I think it pushes them to want to work hard and be where those other rookies are. And I mean, they are displaying quite a performance. So it makes it even harder for people that are selecting your national teams, your SAAs, and all of those things. So it doesn't get any easier. So if you want to get there, you need to work hard, because these boys are opening doors for the development kids that are in your hubs. So it's going to be pretty tough for all the people that are involved.
Slice, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Absolutely a pleasure having you. And that's how we wrap up the Arena Sports Show. Hopefully the influencer will be back in the next one. But for now, cheers, take care, goodbye.